Welcome back, everyone. In 2010, a man from Jordan, almost 24 years old, who was working in Kuwait, his brothers from Jordan gave him a call. Now, they lived in a village. They asked him to come as soon as possible. Why? Because a disaster has taken place. And they said, "You will know what when you come back." They asked him to resign and leave or sell whatever he had and just give up his life and come back. Abdurrahman went back. He arrived at the village and he said, "Now tell me what's wrong. You asked me to resign, leave everything I have built behind, and this better be worth the sacrifice." They said, "Your sister, Souad, she was not present," and he did notice that. Souad was in her late 20s or early 30s, I would say, and she was unmarried. Now they asked Abdurrahman to relax and calm down, and he asked where his sister was. She was at the police station, and she was, as they said, pregnant. So try to understand. The police had detained her because her life is in danger, and this for us is a case of honor. Abdurrahman broke down and was in anger and rage. They tried to calm him down. They said, "You have to understand the situation." They were forced to keep quiet because their sister, is in the police custody. They were ashamed to go out of their houses, and they had a black flag actually hung on top of their house. This black flag means shame. They have, you could call it somewhat a belief that if a house has a case of honor, that someone in the family has brought dishonor upon their family, a black flag is hung on top of the house. And this is replaced with a white flag if the revenge or if the person who has brought dishonor is killed. Now they had to fix the problem by, of course, killing, and this is called honor killing. The death of the victim is viewed as a way to restore the reputation and honor of the family. And as I said, if done, a white flag is hung. Abdurrahman asked, "Why did you ask me to come all the way from Kuwait when you could have just dealt with the situation by killing her?" They said that policemen are completely against us meeting her. And as everyone knows, you had a very good relation with Souad, and you can get her along easily or sign the pledge and take her out. So this is what we want you to do. Now he wanted to know who was the father of the child that she was pregnant from. They said the man acts or claims to be a good man, a well-known man who could read on her when her mother took her to the man, thinking an evil eye could be the reason of her not getting married. And this man here, let me explain well. There are places or countries where they have these beliefs that if someone is not getting married or someone is unable to get pregnant or there are problems between the relationship, these guys straight away go to people who read the holy verses, which is ridiculous because we know that these guys cover themselves with such pure, clean verses, and behind this thing is a person who would be a beast, a Satan, I would say. So what happened? That this man used to read the holy verses to cure people from black magic, I would say, or an evil eye or whatsoever. So anyways, here this man, she had the early signs of pregnancy. It appeared, and she got sick. Therefore, they had to take her to the hospital. Of course, they didn't know that she was pregnant. The doctors here had to call the police for her security the moment they knew that she was pregnant. The man here was arrested, but they had the aim of actually killing their sister first to lower the flag and raise the white flag. That was their worry, although their sister was an innocent person. But Abdurrahman said, why would she allow such a thing to happen? If people stopped believing in such people who are under the face of piousness, do such awful and dirty acts. But the mother here herself, by herself, took her daughter to this man. What can we say? But it was his mistake, and that they said that they can find any other solution later on with the man. They can deal with the man later on. First, they have to finish with their sister. Now, one would rather ask God instead of asking anyone else. And if marriage or anything else, it's fate, and that's it. So they had decided that they would go to the police station and sign the pledge that they will not hurt her. Abdurrahman was not present with them. He didn't sign the pledge. Well, when she got back home and entered the house, Abdurrahman greeted her and welcomed her. And I said she was very close to her brother and she really loved him. And he used to actually pamper her. So she thought that he was her only hope. She did say that the culprit here made her drink something and she lost consciousness. And again, I would repeatedly say that it could have been her mother. She could have kept her eyes open and could see this coming. Abdurrahman assured her that he wouldn't let anyone hurt her. Days passed by and he decided to take her outside just to have dinner and hang out. After days, he said, "Why don't we go on a journey to the mountains?" Souad was confident with her brother Abdurrahman on her side and agreed upon everything he said. Now, when they reached this place, this so-called place, he parked the car aside and the road was, I would say, there was no one around. It was not a tourist site. He asked her to get out of the car. At this moment, she was in doubt that something was wrong. So she started pleading, saying that he was her only hope. But he reassured her, saying, "Souad, I'll not hurt you. Just come out of the car." I said she was hesitant to do so. And she just asked, "Just take me back home. I don't want to get down." That's it. But he did open the car door. He grabbed her and threw her on the street. He took out a gun and the one she trusted the most was the one who wanted to take her life. He shot her. And it was moreover, I would say, near the neck. And it was bleeding. But she was screaming and begging for forgiveness. At the same time, she did say she was innocent. And she was deceived. He got hold on her and emptied the gun on her head. Of course, she was dead. He threw her body from the top of the mountain. And when he arrived at the village, the men were actually celebrating and doing something called tongue wag, which ladies do in a high, loud-pitched voice to express joy. The brother took off the black flag and raised the white one, which was their worry. The next day, he surrendered himself to the police. As this was the case of honor killing, he was sentenced to prison for 3 years only. When he was out of the prison, he started working. He got a job as a carpenter. He regretted the fact that he didn't listen to what his sister said. And he was actually in a very bad psychological state. She was deceived. And if the whole world was against her, he would or could have stood beside her. Now, there was a journalist who wanted to cover this specific story. He knew that this man was in prison and it was the case of honor killing, whatever. And he wanted to interview. And here again, Abdurrahman said, "If I had time, I could have protected her or taken her somewhere else, some other country, whatever. Or killed the culprit instead. Or at least, she only wanted to get married and the result was she got killed from a brother she loved and trusted the most." I would like to end the story with a quote by Queen Noor of Jordan. "The killing of innocent people is a sin." That's it, and thank you for listening.